Well, I guess I lost everyone for a while, and not knowing it, so I'm sure I just blathered on about nothing for God knows how long. I'm still trying to figure out how this whole crazy technology stuff works, so these first few episodes are going to remain kind of rough.
I came to see how you're doing. Well, I'll have to speak to my tailor, but otherwise I'm well, thank you.
So I'm not really sure where I lost everyone.
So ridiculous. I can't take myself seriously.
But the main point of what I was saying before was that if it wasn't for Dungeons & Dragons, I would not have gotten into comics. Because Dungeons & Dragons brought me together with a group of friends who ultimately sort of all went into that industry, and they're the ones who got me connected with the right people. So, I mean, without them, I would never have thought, I would have just... I mean, I had even stopped collecting comics at that point. Even during that 2 years where I was trying to get that first issue of the Black Knight finished, I still wasn't back into collecting comics yet. And like the style that I sort of tried to develop on that book was just kind of created in a vacuum. I mean, it was kind of based on some of my illustration influences from, traditional illustrators. But yeah, it wasn't actually until I started actually working, getting paid work from Dynamite that I, was like, maybe I should go back into the comic shop and see what's happening nowadays. And then I discovered that in the past 10, 11 years, the whole industry had just changed. I mean, what those old house styles from Marvel and DC and Image had, I mean, they're still there, but you had this whole other kind of group of individuals doing artwork unlike anything that I had ever seen in the 90s. So it sort of reinforced the idea that, well, maybe this is possible. Maybe it's possible for me to find a place in the industry as it stands nowadays.
RVN is one of the key factors in our development during puberty. Unlike DNA, which never changes, RVN takes on some additional viroxic sequences during adolescence. Those sequences determine how we develop physically. Without them, we wouldn't mature. Exactly. Now, somehow, those sequences were eliminated in the captain and the others during training. So what do we do? Well, we have a couple of options. These are the plants Keiko was carrying in the shuttle. Whatever turned the crew into children turned these plants into seedlings. I accelerated the growth on one of them, and it developed into a perfectly normal adult plant.
I don't suppose that would work with people.
No. But at least we know that if we do nothing at all, they will probably grow up, just as they did before.
That's one option.
However, I do have the adult RVN patterns of all.
My record on inking a page was this double-page spread I did for Green Hornet of the massacre of Nanjing, which was this horrible. I mean, you couldn't even call it a battle. It was when the Chinese went, or when the Japanese went in and invaded the city of Nanjing. They just slaughtered 300,000 people and really terrible. But it was a big double-page spread, and I inked that thing. I videotaped myself doing it, I filmed myself doing it, and that's on YouTube. You can find it if you do a search of me and Nanking Massacre. I did that in 3 hours. I don't know how I did it in 3 hours. I think I put a lot more detail into my work now than I did even just a couple years ago. So, anyway. Because I look at this now and I think, this is what I did in an hour. That's not much. But I haven't stopped. I mean, other than, some explaining some things and showing the pages from that issue of Uncanny, I haven't stopped. So, anyway, I think that ends our hour today. For those of you who are watching now or have watched or will watch, thanks for tuning back in. Once again, I'll do this. Try to do this every Wednesday now. Don't know what I'm going to talk about next week. Considering sort of weighing in on the, this big new hot button issue of sexual harassment that's going around in comics nowadays, but yeah, I am. Not that I think that I have offensive opinions about it, but yeah, I do not want to offend anyone by accident about that topic. So I don't know if I have the guts to weigh in on that just yet. It's definitely a topic that needs to be discussed more. So I don't know. Maybe I'll talk about it. We'll see. But anyway, thanks everybody for whoever showed up or who will show up. This has been Drawin Shit with Aaron Campbell.